Welcome to part 4 of our tutorial series on secondary sources in legal research. This video will cover the American Law Reports. This is a tutorial by the Jerome Hall Law Library at Indiana University Maurer School of Law. In this brief video, we'll discuss what the American Law Reports is, how it's organized, and the advantages it offers for legal research, with brief demonstrations of how to locate this material in two major legal research databases, Westlaw and Lexis. The American Law Reports, or ALR, is a multi-volume, multi-series publication containing lengthy articles that describe the current state of the law in different jurisdictions. ALR articles are very specific, covering narrow topics of law, commonly in areas that have circuit splits, where different courts have decided the same topic in different ways. This analysis is unique in its multi-jurisdictional treatment of the legal issue, meaning that the article explores how each jurisdiction has handled this particular issue, highlighting key cases from the various jurisdictions. The best time to use the ALR is when you're getting ready to start your case law research, perhaps after you've used an encyclopedia to get an understanding of your topic. If you can find an ALR article that covers the specific legal issue you're planning to research, its multi-jurisdictional analysis of that legal issue can be a strong jumping-off point for finding key cases in your jurisdiction. This point becomes even clearer when we dig deeper into what these ALR articles include. ALR articles are an extremely valuable research resource because of the sheer amount of information they provide. Each article includes an outline broken down into very specific subsections for easy browsing, an index to help you find relevant parts of the article by keyword, research references, listing additional secondary sources such as encyclopedia entries, other ALR articles, and law review articles for further research on the topic, and perhaps best of all, a table of cases, laws, and rules that lists cited primary sources by jurisdiction to help you find how your particular jurisdiction has treated the legal issue in question. ALR articles don't look like any other kind of secondary source you'll use in legal research, and as such, it can take some time to get used to how best to utilize them in your research. However, between the table of cases, laws, and rules and the research references, if you can find an article that addresses the legal issue you're trying to research, that ALR article will provide a veritable library of primary and secondary sources to further your research. Given what you now know about the features of an ALR article, as we continue to compare the different types of secondary sources in law, the ALR falls more toward the middle of the authority spectrum. Its articles offer a very in-depth treatment of a particular legal issue, but are not as analytical or authoritative as periodicals or treatises. You can access the ALR in print, on Lexis, and on Westlaw. Westlaw owns the rights to the American Law Reports and therefore offers additional features that Lexis does not. But it's such a unique resource that Lexis licenses the product as well for use by its customers. On that note, let's take a quick look at how to find the American Law Reports and their available features on Westlaw and Lexis. There are several ways to search for the American Law Reports on Westlaw. To search quickly across all content, begin from the main search bar. We'll continue with our hypothetical about the permissibility of school locker searches. This will bring up results in multiple content types. Switch your content type on the left to secondary sources. Secondary sources is still a rather broad category. You can therefore further filter on the left by publication type to ALR. Scroll through your results to find one most relevant to your research question and click in. There are several things to note here. At the beginning, we get publication information, like the original publication year and author. This is followed by an introductory paragraph on the topic of the article. Then we get to the table of contents, which provides us access to the features we were just talking about: the article outline, index, table of cases, laws, and rules, and research references. Because of the thoroughness of their treatment of the legal issues, ALR articles can be very lengthy. Notice at the top of the screen This one is estimated to be over 400 pages long if printed out. Because of this, it's highly unlikely that you would sit down and simply read an entire ALR article. Instead, make use of the features like the article outline and index to find the parts of the article of most use to you. The table of cases, laws, and rules to quickly see what cases are cited in this article from the jurisdiction or jurisdictions you're most interested in, and use the research references to expand your research to additional explanatory secondary sources. But even these features can be cumbersome to use. For example, if I know I'm interested in locker searches specifically, I might scroll down to the article outline and notice that in Part 3, Sections 10A and 10B seem most relevant. I can click on 10A to get to that section. And I might read through this section and note the cases featured, including a Supreme Court case and several state cases. But what if I'm interested specifically in Indiana state cases? There aren't any cited in this section. To get back to the outline, I can click on the hyperlinked text in the section header, and maybe now I'll scroll back up and try the table of cases, laws, and rules to see if Indiana law is cited at all in this article. These are listed hierarchically and then alphabetically. So first we have the Supreme Court, then the circuits, and when we get past the circuits, we get alphabetically to the states. So I'll scroll on down to Indiana, and now I see several Indiana cases cited with references to where they appear in the article. But without any headers, I don't have a simple way to figure out what these cases are about and whether they're applicable to my specific research question. Luckily, Westlaw has created a tool that helps with that. On the left, there's a Locate Authority by Jurisdiction tool. If I wanted to focus on Indiana cases, I could scroll down to the state list, check the box next to Indiana, and now the sections of the outline where Indiana cases are cited are highlighted in green. So I can see that while the two express sections that deal with lockers don't appear to cite Indiana cases, many other sections that could be helpful to me, such as several sections about reasonableness standards, do. One last thing to point out here. At the top of the page, there are additional tabs. Citing references will show you anything else on Westlaw that has cited to this ALR article, and the table of authorities will list for you all the cases cited in this ALR article, the same information that you could get from that table of cases, laws, and rules. Next, we'll move to Lexis to see how to search the American law reports with that service. You will notice many similarities between searching Lexis and searching Westlaw. As with Westlaw, you may start your ALR search from the main search bar. From the search results list, change your view on the left to Secondary Materials, and next, narrow further by selecting Jurisprudence from the subcategory list on the left. You may choose to filter further by such facets as jurisdiction, source, or searching within your results for an additional keyword. For example, we might filter this list by source to American law reports. Scroll through your search results until you find one that looks relevant to you. And again, we get author information first, then the table of contents in a slightly different order and with slightly different headings. The table of cases, laws, and rules in Lexis is called the jurisdictional table of statutes and cases, followed by the keyword index, or index of terms. The table of references is the additional recommended secondary sources, and then the article outline. You don't get a Locate Authority by Jurisdiction tool, and you don't get citing references at the top of the page as you did in Westlaw. But everything in the article itself is there. So for example, you can jump down to the article outline and scan the sections for those that are most relevant to you, clicking the down arrow to get to that part of the article. And on the right, there are available topic summaries where you might be able to find a more specific subtopic you're interested in researching, such as the expectation of privacy. And those topic summaries may recommend additional primary and secondary sources to continue your research on that narrower subtopic. You should now have a basic understanding of what the American Law Reports is, its many features, and how they can be useful in legal research. This concludes the tutorial on the American Law Reports. If you have any questions, the research librarians are happy to help.